Okay, so I hope you can hear me. This is Aura of Celestial Security, and I was led to come on. I know I've been away for a while, dealing with clients, helping those who don't know the way, their way, because everybody's journey, everybody's path is unique to them. So there's no cookie cutter way for me to explain or run it down or uh, give them a play-by-play on how to get where they need to go. My journey was from 2010 to now. Reading on YouTube has only been in the last 5 years or so, and it's been less frequent because in the real world, in the everyday happening, I'm called more prevalently, more presently than to be on YouTube. But that does not negate the fact that people here need me as well. That's the reason why I do this, okay? So, tonight's topic is a little dark. I had turned the lights off. Um, and I won't even call it dark. I'll say it's the ugly part of the journey that people are afraid to handle. They're afraid to go through. They're afraid to admit. They're afraid to ask for help and to seek guidance on. They feel like no one understands them. They feel like they're in this alone. They feel like everybody has left them alone. They feel abandoned. They feel misunderstood. They feel as if they're fighting a losing battle and they're the only ones fighting it. You may be the only one to put in the action, but just know that you have immense support and immense love around you at all times. You are never alone, right? So on this night, I asked what the guidance is for those who are in depression. Now, depression can range from just sadness, inner sadness. Sometimes it's onset by sudden events. Other times it's something that a person always has. The criticisms that they're constantly thinking of themselves in comparison to others, or when it comes to money, finances, stability, family, home, love, relationships, friendships, and what have you. Just the way that they show up in the everyday world. There are certain things that press a person down. Therefore, there's a depression and a lot of pressure, like a coil. Is compression. Then you have oppression. So we're going to tackle depression, things that are weighing down on, pressing down on people that we know and love. Some of us. The thing is, it's a collective. It's all of us. Some more, some less. But at the same time, you can feel the sorrows of others. You can understand that others are an extension of you. While you can be independent souls, independent spirits, and what have you, you can still be a part of a collective. And if the collective is hit or rocked with things that are pressing down on it, you have the other part of the collective working twice as hard to keep it afloat and keep it balanced. Okay? So we want more. We want to lift up this energy. Just for the time being, let's grapple. Let's get to the bottom of this shit and see what the fuck is going on. What's pressing down on our folks, on our collective. The people who are actually on the path of light and righteousness itself. And this doesn't apply specifically to religion. This is not a religious-based reading. This is not, I'm not going into different types of practice or anything like that. You know, I follow my own way. So there were a few decks that I was led to, okay, and I'm gonna get into them because it's gonna give me a little more clarity on what the fuck we're really up against when it comes to these this pressure or these types of behaviors, thoughts, energies, entities that are lingering and really affecting the people that we love and care for. So you may come in contact with some of these, or you may be um, called to action in these types of cases. You may embody some of the energies that are helping propel the collective to a more stable foundation mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Okay, and this is what is necessary. Before we get to talking about the prosperity and abundance, shadow work is going to be necessary, because those are the things that are going to stop you in your path. They're going to stop you and stall your progress, or you're going to feel as if you're getting only so far, and you know you have so much more potential and so much further to go. Well, those are where the towers come in and really rock the foundation and cut down some of the progress you've made. We're going to handle this. We're going to go through this shit. It's necessary. Because with all that abundance and all that prosperity, if you have this depression underlying, if you have these entities and these energies and these workings that needed to be worked through not done, you won't be fulfilled. You won't be able to be appreciative of where you are. It will never be enough. So we're going to get to the root of it. This is the reading. So first and foremost, focus on direction and guidance, bringing allies and helpful items closer and pushing enemies and destructive influences away, right? I want to talk about this because this specific entity is not inherently bad. It's just one that isn't risen. It isn't of a higher nature. It's not one that you're going to get, you're not going to find this guidance where the prosperities and blessings are. You're going to find this in the low places, but it's going to be associated with that voice that says, I shouldn't be here and I shouldn't be doing this thing. Or I'm tipsy as fuck, I'm about to black out, let me get my ass home. Or, fuck, I don't need to spend my money on this last blunt, I got something to do with it. So there's this energy of being involved in things that are not of your higher nature, but at the same time having that sense of direction, that sense of guidance, that you know you should be doing something else. So this lends a hand to the depression when you're acting in ways or taking part of activities or even know someone of this nature who is giving their energy to everything they know they should not be doing or have outgrown at this point, and they keep getting it cycle back around and they keep succumbing to the same pattern that they've already had. It's giving you an opportunity. It's giving them an opportunity, or for you to help usher in that guidance, that they always know their true north. They always know the right direction. They always know what the path of right is. It is their habitual patterns. It is their self-doubt. And it's a nagging voice that has them defy what they know they should be doing. Okay? Next message. Focus on enduring love and passion. Beware of strong emotions becoming destructive. This is another thing. when it comes to love relationships, um, especially here on this twin flame journey, right? This particular entity is fueled by passionate connection. So depression is coming over the collective. A lot of it has to do with that the reason why romantic love and the reason why this twin flame journey seems as if it is so um, powerful, I'll say. It is powerful when you actually know the true nature and the true workings of a twin flame connection. What a lot of people are experiencing in the community is the intensity, the yearning, the fire that is entity based. This is not actually of love at all. I would say 9.5 out of 10 cases, it is this entity that is propelling the passion. And it's destructive to the point of psychosis, of emotional demolition, a person imploding. And I really want you to be careful with this when dealing with people who are extreme in emotion towards you, coming on to you, soliciting your attention, trying to get to know you, and they're just too fucking putting it on too thick. That is entity attachment. Another thing that this particular entity does, it causes upheaval in romantic situations. And that passion that is ignited, whether it's romantic passion or anger passion, it takes it and it fuels the existing relationship. And this is in the event that this is a cheating scenario, or there's a third party, four party, five party situation happening. It incites this passionate, this wrathful type of energy. It gets a person stirred up emotionally. It gets them to where they're not governing their actions and reactions. It's based off the lower instincts. It's based off of the lower nature. This is what an entity like this is going to incite. So, the passion a person feels for you or expresses towards you, it may feel good if you're craving that touch or craving that attention. So you have to be careful with your desires, because you'll get exactly what the fuck you're desiring, and it can be attached to something like this. It'll feed it. In moderation, passion is fine. But if this passion causes, this fiery passion between you and another causes upset and anger with another, and the person you think that you're dealing with is getting passion in both directions. They're getting the passion of anger, they're getting the passion of romance. And it's a high. And that's what I'm saying here, because these two entities, they're acting hand in hand at one point or another, or all throughout the situation where this depressive situation is coming to a head, is that you've always had clear knowing of what the right path is, or the direction that it is, but it's this passion that is so intensified that it pulls you, and you choose to head in that direction instead. So you have these two entities that are perpendicular to each other. They're not necessarily parallel, but you have a map, but you just want to explore it a little more to see if you can still get the outcome that you were seeking from this desire. But the desire that you have and the outcome and goal that you have are not of the same vibration. One is of a higher vibe, a higher desire, enlightened perspective. Because with time being concurrent and not consecutive, you can actually feel what it feels like to feel that thing, that epitome of happiness that you were seeking. The desire that a person is partaking in feels intense and almost mirrors that destination. So a person feels like, because this is intense, like the excitement and adrenaline rush that they associate with that ultimate feeling of bliss, that they should keep following it, even though they have guidance that the direction is elsewhere. It may be a little dry, it may be a little boring, it may be a little straight and narrow. So they don't want to go that way. They want to go the way that they can get as close as they can to the extreme feeling of that bliss as they can get. But they don't understand fully that their opposites, their polar opposites, the feeling and intensity is only a reflection of the true happiness that you get when you follow your path. So it looks are deceiving. And in this type of energy, in these low places, you cannot even trust your emotion. You can trust your intuition, but your emotion itself is coming from an egoic place. It's coming from a place of desire that isn't wholeheartedly anchored in truth. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Focus on patience and perseverance in difficult situations and on repaying those who help to attain goals. So it seems like on this particular journey, from the beginning of your awareness to now, and even before you had the awarenesses that you have now, there are people, have been people along your journey, even if they were in those low places with you, even if they were a part of a lifestyle you no longer have, or a type of uh, a place that you no longer cherish as home. There were people on your path that were mirroring these energies, these entities. They were playing them out. You had the overly passionate encounters, or highly um, had those highly combustible connections with people, where you always seem to find some type of trouble or attract some type of drama, or it just has some type of aftermath attached to it. And then you had those connections at the very same time that would speak to the part of you that was heading in a different direction, heading towards the way that you know. They were colleagues, they were managers, they were supervisors, they were mentors, they were people in passing, an elder, or even a friend that just didn't resonate on that type of lifestyle, but still resonated with you. So they may not even have done the things you were doing or been a part of the lifestyle you were a part of, but in some shape, form, or fashion, this person or these people, for every person in your life that was miserable or volatile or irresponsible, reckless, whatever, you had somebody who had their shit together, or was working to get to where you're headed. They were giving you information. They were giving you a balance between these two energies. And there's a sense of loyalty and devotion Whether or not you even speak to these people, know where they are, maybe you saw them in passing, it could have been a stranger, it could have been someone who came to your job all the time, and you just saw them, or you know, in transit, they crossed your path. But even in those times, where you are now and where you were then, no matter how recent or how distant in the past it was, there was this sense of balance between the two. So now you can kind of look back to those instances, those situations, even those people, and appreciate their existence for being on your path. Because now that you have a different sense of awareness, you can think back to conversations you had, encounters you've had, where someone was pointing you to your true north, where someone was pointing you towards the direction that you're actually on now. And it's been many. It's been many. So you can think about the fucked up situations. You can think about the botched relationships. You can think about the fucked up living situations, job situations, relocations, family arguments, fights, friendships that went awry. You can think of those. It seems like those encounters can come up more prevalently, but then you have those other encounters, because they weren't extreme and because they weren't passionate and they weren't highly volatile or dramatic. It seems as if you almost forgot that you had those calms, those placid peoples in your environment that help temper from you losing your actual shit, or from you actually going off the deep end then because you had an awareness, not even awareness, because unconsciously you absorbed the information, and that assisted you. Actually, it assisted you into getting where you are now, because even though you may not have been consciously aware of it, you were aware enough to actually start enacting those changes without actually mapping out based off of what they gave you. But you had the awareness of it, and your unconscious can feed you information to have you take this path instead of that one, make this decision instead of this one. So there was nothing wasted. There was nothing wasted. None of those transactions, none of those situations, none of those conversations or bonds were for granted. Beware of allowing fear to overcome logic. Focus on gaining knowledge to conquer fears instead of trying to destroy things we don't understand. So if you had a relationship, friendship, family situation, job, living situation, whatever, went belly up and you really don't understand it, don't omit it. Don't omit it, because like I said, nothing is wasted. So even if you don't have the full understanding of why it was necessary or it was very painful to go through, I'm telling you that there's the answer right in it. When the problem is created, the solution is created simultaneously. So they exist, they coexist with one another. So nothing is wasted. So, yes. There's, I've got a couple of others here. We have the Exile card. Got on these nails. The Maestro. Nyx, Enchantress of the Night. She's beautiful. I've always loved that name. And Vamp. So here is where the shadow work, light work comes in. For those of you who practice, and a lot of people who are actually more predisposed to experiencing the dark side of life, tend to be these shadow workers by nature, whether they understand it or not. And then you have other people who are light workers, but a lot of times it goes hand in hand. We have no light without dark. We have no dark without light. We have to have both in order to understand what dark is. We have to understand that while they're both opposing, they're necessary to coexist, our yin yang. You know what I mean? So we have Enchantress of the Night, which is secrets, vigilance, and subterfuge. We have Vance, caretaker of the lost, respite, assistance, and memory. The Maestro, master of inspiration, understanding, community, ingenuity. And the Exile, a forsaken soldier, which is strategy, failure, and trauma. So we have these, they're one after the other. It's like light, dark, so to speak. Secrets, vigilance, subterfuge, strategy, failure, and trauma. So Exile and Nyx, which is, Enchantress of Night and the Forsaken Soldier, they almost seem to work together in this type of instance. It's a lot of things that people feel that are in the dark or done in the dark. They really don't understand what they mean, what we mean by they have to come to light. They have to be flushed. They have to be bathed in sunlight. They have to be treated with these UV rays, these ultraviolet rays. The celestial, which is the caretaker of the lost, and Maestro, which is master of inspiration. These two, like, you're never forgotten. I don't even give a fuck if these are underworld energies working behind the scenes. You have to understand that while a person may feel they're in the dark night of the soul, and they feel like they're under the surface, they feel like they're underwater, they feel like they're forgotten, that you still have an Enchantress of Night who's spearheading the whole thing. The Forsaken Soldier is standing right beside you while you're going through this stuff. And it is in those moments when it's darkest, when you feel like, these secrets can eat you alive, like, there is a vigilance to come up with a strategy to emerge. You don't have to be underneath the guise of night. This is when you come up for air. This is when you ask for assistance. So now you got Vance, who is the caretaker of the lost, who gives you the assistance to remember who the fuck can help you in this situation. You can ask for help. You can reach your hand out and ask for help. You're not alone in this at all. So Maestro is master of inspiration, understanding, community, and ingenuity. For these to be underworld workings, for these to be underworld embodiments and archetypes, you have Vance and the Maestro, who are, once Nyx and Exile have exalted a person to a certain extent, when that strategy is put in place, when those secrets are no longer keeping you in the closet, keeping you tucked away from embodying who the fuck you really are, true to yourself, full of soul. Caretaker of the lost guides you to a certain point, brings you up out of that, and Maestro takes over. So we have all these powerful ass energies, right? And you have to just decipher the difference. You have to decipher the entities from the assisters. You have people who are actually, and I say people, but I mean entities and energies that are actually assisting the fuck out of you. They're assisting you out these situations. So you have to understand what you're partaking in, what you're saying yes to, what you're doubting. Because the guidance you could be getting could be from these motherfuckers who are helping guide you about this. But you can't hear angels from how low you are. So you're going to hear the underworld. You're going to hear the people of the underworld. You're going to hear the entities of the underworld. Not all of them are demons and killing people and possessing people. You have entities in the underworld that are actually doing good work, but have been put there for whatever transgression. They still have work to do. They still have a role. Let them help you up out of this shit. Because it's those other entities that are going to, no, it's okay, you can fuck around. No, it's okay, you can think these negative thoughts. Take that intense situation. Take that chance. Call that that man's woman. Meet up with her. It's okay. It's passionate. You'll enjoy it. It's adrenaline. Nah. And you have the other entity, like, that's not the way. That's not going to be conducive to the goal that you actually have in mind. So you can sleep on it tonight. Tomorrow you're going to feel different. You're not even going to want to. So at that moment, when you have that intense, very intense, pressing ass emotion to do something that you know you should not be doing, that's when you give it just a little more time. You think about it. You feel it. Write it down. The fuck? Record a memo on your phone. I don't care. Get it off your chest or get it off your mind, but do not act it out. You don't have to act out what the fuck you're feeling all the time. There's a difference between action and reaction. You're reacting to an entity that doesn't even have a body to make these movements. Therefore, you'd be enacting something that is not even of you. It's not true to your character. It's more resembling an entity that has no physical body to perform these things. So understand when you're being used, or you're being useful. Okay, there's a difference there. So with these dark mirror cards, we have I Won't Cry For You, 22. Shout out to Miss Jasmine. Gilded Regret, number 5, which I saw triple 5 today. Fragmentation, 27. And the card at the bottom of the deck is the Temple of My Body. And this is why extramarital affairs came out. This is why cheating scenarios, relationships, twin flame shit, all of this came out, right? The intensity does not assign it twin flame. Just because it's a catalyst, okay? And I'm surprised the tower didn't come out. But these entities are around tower type shit. Okay? This one specifically. And it's like you're dealing with a person that is embodying the energy of this particular entity that won't speak the truth unless it's cornered. Unless it's fucking cornered by opposing forces and just squeezed in the middle. So that is a lot of these situations, what they call karmic this and, twin flame that. Fuck all of that. Fuck all of that. It's not in truth. It's not done in a divine manner. It's not. Understand that shit that's something else. That is purely something else. Those are the lower natures that when you're living through life, you live like this, and then you start to rise up here, and you're going to drop equally as low to handle everything below your reality. That is in you. It's within you. Because if you can reach this height of enlightenment, you can reach this low of shadow, of ego. And you may be oscillating somewhere in the middle naturally. But you go here, you have to be able to go here. And the layers go as deep as you can go high. So just understand that they're going to be equal and opposite in height and depth. The deeper you go in your spirit, the trenches, the underworld shadow work type shit is going to be equal to as high as you go, enlightened. Astral projection, astral travel, going to different galaxies, different timelines, different alternate realities where you exist in theory or in thought form. You understand? So you're going to actually have to go just as deep in order to keep up with the transformations that are happening. When you hit that dark night of the soul and you actually descend into your being, it's propelling you with enough work so that you can, and momentum, so you can go higher in your evolution. Because you have to know thyself, the good, bad, and ugly. So we have I Won't Cry For You, Gilded Regret, Fragmentation, in the Temple of My Body. So it really feels like someone is they're wearing a lot of their pain on their flesh. in their body, right? We know that this is how diseases and illnesses and disorders, they manifest. They get chronic. They get um, acute, just immunodeficiency disorders, immunocompromised. We hear a lot about that right now with the whole pandemic happening, and a lot of people did not know what the fuck they were feeling was eating a hole through their ass. You know what I'm saying? So this is manifesting in the human body. I won't cry for you. This isn't about sorrow. This isn't about ego. When we cry these tears, we cry about these situations sometimes that we idealized or fantasized or thought we were manifesting into being. These tears that you may cry are not for the actual hurt from a person. It's this thing is not going to come into existence. This thing that I've created. This manifestation I've worked so hard on. You're putting momentum into something that was already falsely derived. No matter how much mouth to mouth you gave it, you cannot resuscitate it because it wasn't actually, it was a clone. It was like a duplicate of the actual life you're going to be living. It will not be the same components. It will not be the same characters. It will not be the same place that you envisage. It's going to be similar but different. So the manifestation that you have in mind could be stalling what you're actually bringing into fruition. But if you're so stuck on the picture, you're not given that particular sight. What you're being asked to do is to keep that hope, keep that faith, keep that that knowing that you're going to get exactly what you deserve and what you need, and everything else is going to start to cascade and fall into place. Gilded regret, fragmentation, it's not enough to regret. You have to know it. You have to live it. You have to experience it. This is something that you damn sure need. I'm going to light a Newport up on this one. Fuck that. You needed this. If it taught you nothing else, it taught you value. If it taught you nothing else, it taught you sacred space. If it taught you nothing else, it taught you value. You've always understood more than you've given yourself credit for. So this depression shit, start unpacking, and this shit can no longer press you down. We're going to alleviate some of this pressure. Break open this depression shit. See what the fuck it's made of, so we can handle it. It's time to get what the fuck you deserve. It's time to get what you need. Nobody else can give it to you. You have to know that you're worth it. You have to know. The temple of my body. I didn't read what this card is talking about. So I'm telling you, this is sacred right now. No one's going to come inside of your psyche and pull you out. This has to be an unconscious, subconscious link that this shit just clicks. And you realize that you haven't given yourself away to some entity and you don't have these possessions or whatever. Like, you can say no. You can say no. You can say, I want different. You can choose. So that's what we are. When it comes to what the angels had to say about this shit, they come connection. Yesod. It's talking about connection. Like, be here now. Be present. You're not in that moment, that memory. And if it wasn't for me going back and hearing that video, like, when I get those channel messages, I don't remember what the fuck I'm talking about. I just have a knowing. It's not something that I'm writing down and reciting and memorizing. It's not a speech. It's coming from spirit. It's coming from my soul. It's coming from my celestial connection. I am who I am, and I am that I am. So, be here now. Be connected. We have Leliel, Angel of Night. So while you had Enchantress of the Night with Nyx, you have an Angel of the Night, In.Tu.It. These two motherfuckers, they balance each other out. Where one is going to be with you during the dark ass periods, the dark nights of the soul, you're going to have the other one that is comforting you through them. No fucking entity is going to be able to do damage to you unless you give it permission. You have to value yourself more than that. Disallow it. Disallow it. And see how shit changes. Just give yourself 1 week. 1 week. I disallow this thought to take hold of me. I disallow this behavior to be my prison. I disallow these thoughts to run rampant. I disallow this motherfucker to shake my foundation and see where it takes you. And you have right hand, just said, empathy, right? Empathy. And the archangels, you got Michael with enchantment. Now this too will take the glamour off your fucking eyes. This will take the illusion away. Just for a moment you can see a glimpse of what is real. Why? Raphael coming through with the healing energy of empathy. We have empathy up here twice. So it's reiterating why you need to be gentle with yourself. Why you need to take care of your emotional well-being. Why you need not press yourself down while everything else is depressing you. Why you're choosing to let that shit push on top of you. The shit feels so heavy. So it's time for Jophiel. Liberation. And the tarot card that's just sitting at the top of the deck. I didn't even choose any tarot cards. The sun is sitting here. The sun. We get one final message and I'm gonna get the fuck on. Six of Cups. This is showing me some past shit. This X is here. It's over with. X marks the spot. So it's talking about the key, the fucking truth, the fucking answer being in the past situation. This is you, evolved, grown. This was you acting in an unevolved place, unevolved spirit, unevolved mind, emotional stance. These are represented by children. And when you hear that old adage, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it different. You can't do that. We're not doing that. But the answer was there the whole time. The key was there the whole time. The truth was there the whole time. So with this new set of awareness, this hindsight, to do this shadow work, you have to go back. You may only remember this here, but I'm telling you, the answer was here the whole time. You overlooked it. You overlooked something. You overlooked something. So come up with this question, this pressing question to something very specific that you've had in your mind for a very, very long time. And that instant connected to that question, go back to it. Go back to it from the place you are now, the age you are now, the mental awareness, the emotional growth, the spiritual growth, everything in you that is evolved. Remember that you are that person now, and go back to that moment as if you're a companion to the person that you were then, as if you were an onlooker and just taking part in looking it over, combing it over. You will see something that you did not recognize the first time, and it will answer a question that you've always had. I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you with that for now. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to check on your motherfucking ass. And we're going to do the next leg of this journey. We're going to move away from depression and we're going to bring it up to another notch. Depression is pretty low. You know, it's on the, there's a couple of things associated with depression. It varies from person to person, situation to situation. But it's something very necessary at this time. At this time. We're especially about to enter a time where it's better to go into the shadow work by choice than by force. Just to be honest, not everybody's going to make it out to the other side of that dark night of the soul. A lot of people are not going to wake up from that sleeping state. So, rock with me for just a little bit. For just a little bit longer. Let's make it through this shit at least to the end of the year. I may not run this series that long, but let's just make it past the retrograde at least. Like, we have a lot of shit coming up. And even though I go through my own transformations and I go through my own shadow work and I go through my own instances, I'm self-governing, so I catch it quickly and I have to recalibrate and amend. I am no different. I am no better. I'm just a little more experienced than newcomers to this journey. I've noticed that subconsciously, I've been doing this for a very long time. The things that you don't see on this camera, on this channel, in these cards, notebooks and notebooks and notebooks full of shadow work, right? It makes the light work that much more powerful because I know my true north. But I also know that I have an advantage having been so far down low that my evolution upward, that shit is unmatched. I'm not going to go anywhere until you fall back in love with the fuck who you are. When you realize who the fuck you are, and you love that motherfucker to no end, and then now we're cooking with gas. So, I'm going to leave it here. I'll probably upload this shit tonight, edit it a little bit, whatever. But I'm going to put this shit up soon. Because I want to see where we are as a collective. Definitely so. We talk about the same shit over and over. Different readers, different messages. Same shit over and over. Let's get to the bare bones of this shit so we can stop seeing these repetitive readings. So we can stop seeing these repetitive patterns. Like, let's really get the fuck into it. Let's talk about the shit that people don't really want to talk about. Or they just skate over the surface of this shit. Like, let's really get in there. Let's start digging around and burying our own skeletons before they fall the fuck out the closet. And some people can't handle truth in that manner. They'd rather go to the grave with it. But it gets crowded in that grave. So even in the afterlife, motherfuckers is not satisfied. They're not in peace at all. You don't want to take your personal hell with you. You may not be able to take your blessings and your money and this and that, but you wanna at least get that soul up out of there, up out of that low place, because that's a place that you can stay if you're not careful, and that shit ain't pretty. That motherfuckers is coming back and wreaking havoc on other people who are actually living, and we can see that in today's age. So this is imperative that we hit this shit one by one by one by one. If I only reach one motherfucking person, then I've served my goddamn purpose. Period. Point blank. Straight up, no chaser. 100%. What's it gonna be?